Welcome to Commander Tuneups with the Nitpicking Nerds.
In this episode, we're upgrading our patron Jack's Golos deck into a legal commander deck.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. Stilted intro aside, we're going every single day. We make relevant commander content. This is going for hundreds of days now. Check it out if you don't believe us. But there's a TCG player in the link if you do believe us. TCG player link in the description. Buy the cards you want. Check out. And then we get a kickback on the order, courtesy of TCG player, because you helped us.
Thank you. We appreciate anyone who uses that. And also, if you want to help us support 50K, you got to be quick, because once we hit 50K, which is so close, we're getting everything that's in that P.O. box, which you can go in the description, find that P.O. box, and send us whatever you want. We'll open it in front of this camera as long as it's PG and appropriate for the channel.
We're talking letters, notes, cards, 3D models. But we're going to get right into the video right now. What is Commander Tuneups?
Commander Tuneups is a series where we take your patron backer submitted decks and we upgrade them under your own restrictions, whether that be budget or you want it to be a Planeswalker deck. So like the only restriction for this deck is no card over $500 and Planeswalker theme.
And Golos was the commander, but guess what? Golos got himself banned. So we got to come up with a new commander who is going to be Sisay, Weatherlight Captain.
How do you say that again?
Sisay, Weatherlight Captain. 2 and a white for legendary creature, human soldier, 2/2. She gets +1/+1 for each color among other legendary permanents you control. And you can pay Wooburg and search your library for a legendary permanent card with mana value less than her power, put it into the battlefield, then shuffle. We want other colors of legendary permanents. Well, that's great because we got Planeswalkers already. And then once we have them, we can pay Wooburg to just go get a Planeswalker.
Yeah, it's not super strong or great, but we don't have a Wooburg. Planeswalkers Matter Commander, this is the closest thing we have, so I think this is the best option to replace formerly Golos.
I mean,
Golos.
It's pretty darn close.
Yes. So the theme of this deck, it's Planeswalkers. That's what we're doing. Very obviously, we're going to have a ton of Planeswalkers out in the field. And the game plan with that is to gain advantage with those Planeswalkers, whether it be drawing cards or destroying other permanents to get the advantage. And then you combo by, your doubling seasons and your Vorinclex Monstrous Raiders to win the game.
Yeah, we got other ways to ultimate Planeswalkers super quick. Some of the best cards that were already in the deck before we even touched it, we mentioned doubling season. We mentioned Vorinclex. They're like the go-tos. Combo City, ultimate Planeswalker right away, and then you're just going to win the game. We also have Teferi, Master of Time. This is a stupid magic card. It's one of the best blue cards in the format. It's just plus, win the game with the time stretch.
Yeah, he's very, very good. And we have so much synergy with Planeswalkers that we're going to be able to make him even better than he usually is. Ugin the Spirit Dragon, there's a couple things. Board wipes are super important for your Planeswalker decks.
Yes.
And the fact is, Ugin is just one of the best ever. He's just, if you ultimate him, it's GG. It feels like almost every time. Plus, starts at 1 million loyalty. He's a board wipe. There's a lot of good stuff here.
This deck also, maybe we'll put an honorable mention here for like Rings of Brighthearth. If you copy an Ugin ultimate, live in a magical Christmas land.
Yeah, and the last card that was already in the deck, very good. Toxic Deluge. This deck needs board wipes. Planeswalker decks need board wipes. You got to keep the creatures off the board because they can attack and kill your Planeswalkers.
Yeah, Planeswalkers are by far the worst type in Commanders. So we got to mitigate that by tying it together with a bunch of synergy and then clearing out everything that's not Planeswalkers. We don't care about that stuff. Now we can just talk about the changes we actually made. The first category here is ramp. We're going to cut the stuff that just doesn't quite gel with our Planeswalker strategy. So we're cutting Growth Spiral. I just don't think we can take up a slot. We're not going to reliably have the second land drop enough times to make this a slam dunk in the deck. It's not going to be much better than a cantrip or explore.
Yeah, these cards you want to be playing in landfall decks where you need the extra landfall, and that's very synergistic. It's not what we have here. Cultivate, we're not on a budget. This card is a card that I think could go in a normal Planeswalker deck on a budget. This deck is not budget. We don't need it. Crucible of Worlds, Exploration, Ramming Up Excavator, these are landfall deck cards. They're all great cards in their own right, but we don't need them in a Planeswalker deck.
Yeah, we can cut this mini alternate achievement, and we don't need to play these fetch lands from our graveyard. We can fetch for all 10 duels, all 10 fetches during this, but we just don't need to do that. We just need to hit 7, 8, 9, 10 lands, and then we're going to win the game. We just don't have any interest in this.
Yeah, and Chromatic Lantern, Nitpicking Nerds, special cut.
Trap.
We think it's a trap. If his mana base is incredible, we have all 10 fetches, we have duels. You're not going to struggle with your mana base. I just don't think Chromatic Lantern is going to be necessary.
No, but what are the cards that are actually necessary?
Well, the cards that are really good. Bloom Tender, we are a 5-color deck. We're going to have 3-4 colors on the battlefield all the time. Bloom Tender is just going to tap for 3 or 4. Easy.
It's a guaranteed 2. You're going to have Bloom Tender and you're going to have Sisay. Any other Planeswalker is going to add 3 or maybe 4. And we also have Fabro Elder, which is already in the deck, and they're just going to go crazy. They're going to tap for so much mana.
Yeah, they'll make a lot of mana. Astral Cornucopia, this has a sub-theme of proliferation. So this is a bad 3-mana rock, but you play it, and eventually, if you can proliferate it once, now it's a great 3-mana rock.
Yeah, there are no rocks that enter untapped that cost 3 and add 2. That's not a thing. Coalition Relic is the closest we can get, and that's still not straight up tap for 2. Or Power Stone enters tap. So if you can get this to 2 counters, you're living the dream, and then anything else is... This is going to be one of the best permanents in play, and it's not even one of your Planeswalker threats. Nature's Lore, just better than Cultivate, sorry. Skyshroud Claim, also better, and we had 3 visits already in. These are going to let you search for any duel and just put them into play right now, untapped.
Yep, and Chromax, I mean, we're not on a budget. Chromax is a great card, especially for a deck that has big, expensive threats like Planeswalkers.
Yeah, we only need so many giant 6, 7, 8 mana things, so if we have a couple in our hand, we can turn one of them into ramp, like if we discard a Nicol Bolas we're not going to cast. Now it's 3-color fixing, and we're going to accelerate out our other Planeswalker or our Vorinclex and just win that way. We don't need to ultimate that many Planeswalkers to just win. Speaking of Planeswalkers, cherries.
Well, here's the Planeswalker adds and cuts. This is what we did in that section. Jace the Mind Sculptor, I think it's a trap for Commander. It's loyalty. The plus isn't card advantage or anything, and if it's staying at 3 loyalty, this thing is so susceptible to dying. Obviously, you want to be brainstorming every turn. That's like the ideal thing with Jace, but if you're doing that, he's staying at 3 loyalty, and that's his weakness.
It's like draw a card each turn. I'm just not interested in that. We're never, ever ultimating it. It's even in a Planeswalker deck. You play him and double it, he has like 6. He's like a -12. You're never going to get there, and even if you do, it only kills 1 player. It's so not worth it. Same with Ral Zarek. You're just never going to get any value out of the first 2 modes. That's what we want out of a Planeswalker. The first couple modes can do something, and then the ultimate is good. This is none of that. I mean, the ultimate's good, but we can't. How do we get there?
Yeah,
it's like an enchantment that does nothing until we have doubling season.
Yep. Yeah, we don't, and we just don't want those. Ajani Strength of the Pride. This is not a life gain deck.
Yeah,
this doesn't work with our deck. If our deck, this is a great card for any life gain deck, honestly. But that's not what this is. So we're off it. Nissa Vastwood's here. There's 1 forest in the whole deck. I mean, is that self-explanatory?
Yeah,
self-explanatory.
It's not even crazy, even if you went up to 3 forests. But I just figured we just cut this card. Play other options.
Well, yeah, with how good our mana base is, we don't want to. Why add more forests when we can just, get rid of the Nissa?
Yeah, and the ultimate isn't anything crazy. You make 6 6/6s. That's not even going to end the game.
Nicol Bolas Planeswalker. This used to be the big boy, the scary guy, but he's just not there anymore, and I don't think he's worth playing in the Commander format.
No, none of those abilities are good. It's a cool card. It's not a good card.
And Venser, the Sojourn. This card is for blink strategies and other things. His plus and his minus aren't doing anything for our deck, so we're not interested. It's the same exact problem as Ral Zarek, where it's just like, this is an enchantment that does basically nothing until maybe it does something.
Right, and the +2 can reset a Planeswalker, but then you can't use it right away. I just don't think it's that good. And it's a 5-mana sorcery speed type thing, just like all Planeswalkers are.
So the Planeswalkers we added, Tezzeret the Seeker, he's obviously a nice little tutor to get some artifacts, or he's ramp. Both of these are fine, especially if you can protect him.
Yeah, I really like Dack Fayden. Dack Fayden is one of the best Planeswalkers, period. It wasn't in the deck, so guess what? It is now. You're going to steal an artifact, and then for the rest of the time, you don't even care what happens. This is like a Planeswalker. It has the synergies, but it's a really good removal spell that happens to be a Planeswalker. You're going to get off-the-wall, like, unrelated synergies because of, proliferate. Now I can loot when he wouldn't have survived otherwise. It's going to be sweet in this deck.
Yeah, Tamio, Collector of Tales. This is just... It's an overpriced Eternal Witness, basically, but it has other text, so you can mill yourself to get other things in the graveyard and stuff along those lines. It also randomly protects you from having to discard and sacrifice.
It's the anti-Turgid tech.
Really, really random card that just happens to hate out that deck. Ajani Steadfast, he's going to minus to put counters on your Planeswalkers. That's the synergy.
He also pumps Sisay so that when you activate her, you get an extra mana worth of stuff, because she really only goes to 7 by herself. So if you can get her up to 8 or 9, then you can get that Ugin or that Nicol Bolas.
Yeah, you get a little extra thing. And then there's Kasmina, Enigma, Sage. What she does is she gives your other Planeswalkers her ability, which basically means she gives the Planeswalkers a +2.
Yeah.
So Planeswalkers that don't have pluses now have a +2. And things like Teferi, instead of plussing 1, he's plussing 2. He's going to ult very fast.
That's disgusting. That is the grossest 2-card little combo in this deck. Enigma Sage and Master of Time. It's so silly. When you already have Ashiok in here, and Red 6 and Narset, things that just weren't really meant to +2, and you're going to get to their ultimates so much faster. I mean, Red 6, You throw a board wipe with Retrace, your Planeswalkers aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, you're probably winning that game. There's also Tamio, Field Researcher. This is one of the ones that has a decent plus and a decent minus. They're okay, but it's here for the ultimate. This is a real game-winning ultimate. It's draw 3, and you can cast your spells for free for the rest of the game. You're just not losing from that point.
That's one of the best Planeswalker ultimates we've ever seen. So this one's obviously going to be slam dunk in this deck, and she works with Doubling Season and Vorinclex, where you play them first, then she enters ultimates right away.
Up next is synergies for our Planeswalkers. We cut a few cards here. Sword of Truth and Justice is really cute. It works with Sisay. It's okay. If you can start sneaking through hits, I just don't think it's reliable enough to really... We don't have enough things to equip this to overall to defend putting it in our deck.
Yeah, there's just like 12 creatures in this deck, and not many of the Planeswalkers even make tokens either. Also, Lithoform Engine, I get what we're going for, but it's too expensive, and we don't have an interest in the sorcery copy or the instant sorcery copy or the copy of permanent spell because they're all legendary.
Yeah, exactly. We're not super interested. It's a cool card, and I think it has some homes in EDH. This is not one of them. And Tezzeret's Gambit, this is just 3 mana, 2 life, draw 2 cards, proliferate is not a good rate. That's Divination. I'm sorry. Divination's not a good card in Commander.
Yeah, we talked about me selling Joe on Benevolent Offering. I think Joe sold me on to stop playing this. It's kind of just like a little bit overcosted for what you get.
I mean,
it's cool to proliferate, but you'd really rather just have something else.
It is. I mean, the best. I really think if you just go back and say this is Divination with very light upside, it's like, oh, Divination's not even close to the realm of playability for Commander.
Especially when our budget is, almost infinite. We can't spend $500 on a card. We can do anything else. Well, we don't need Tezzeret's Gambit.
Yeah, definitely. Next, here we have our ads now for this category. Carth the Lion. He's going to make our Planeswalkers plus even more. How about Teferi the Time Raveler with Carth and Kasmina out?
That's almost like infinite. I wonder, because if you start getting like pure Imaginative Rascal in the mix, during your extra turns, you just like plus 10 them and then just do it again.
I don't know if you can get that high.
I think that is possible. And then Carth also finds Planeswalkers, and then when your Planeswalkers die, you find more Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Carth does everything.
Yeah, Carth is really nice for a 5-color Planeswalker. The only thing about Carth is why he doesn't see play is he's green-black. He's never going to be in the command zone. And you need to be playing 5-color, specifically 5-color Planeswalkers, and then he's awesome.
I'm just going to keep talking about Teferi Masterfriend because Oath of Teferi lets you double them up and obviously double up everything. This is one of the best cards in the deck. The flicker is nothing. I barely even care. But the fact that you just double all your activations on the static enchantment is going to bury people.
Yeah, Oath of Teferi is an insane card in Amanatu, and I have 1 Planeswalker in Amanatu. It's Amanatu, and it's still an insane card. Now, if we have like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I don't even know. There's like 20 Planeswalkers.
There's 21, I think.
When you have that many Planeswalkers, Oath of Teferi is absolutely bonkers. It doesn't matter if you have no flicker value.
No, and to talk about board wipes, Urza's Ruinous Blast is perfect. None of our spells that matter are not legendary. We're going to play this, and it's going to be Plague Wind. We're taking out all their ramp, all their artifacts, all their creatures, except for their commanders, and then we're not going to be able to be touched. Our Planeswalkers are going to be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, this has the downside of potentially that they have a board where it's like there's an Ellistorm out there and it's not answering that. Sometimes that's going to happen, but the upside of not getting rid of our Planeswalkers is going to be well worth that most of the time.
Plus, it exiles. And then we also have Kethis, which is ramp and recursion. Our Planeswalkers are going to cost 1 less. And if we have dead Planeswalkers, we can exile like, a Ren and 6 and a Narset that we don't need. Oh, here comes Nicol Bolas Godpharaoh again. Remember him?
No, I don't remember him.
That's what you would say, though, in the game.
Oh,
your opponents will remember him.
Oh, okay, of course. I mean, obviously. Flux Channeler, cast a spell, proliferate. Boom. Done.
These are the proliferates you want. There's no ceiling. Evolution Sage. Every fetch is 2 proliferates. This Evolution Sage is like the best proliferator, period.
But yeah, I mean, Evolution Sage is so easy, especially when you have the money for fetches like this deck already did. Pure Imaginative Rascal, this is just, you're getting extra 1 counters. That's easy.
Unlike
Simple.
Doubling Season, he works when they plus. So if your creature plus, or your Planeswalker +2s, you get a +3.
Yeah, Vorinclex also, much like Vorinclex, where
Yes.
Vorinclex works with, if you +2, +4s.
But Doubling Season only says when they enter, they double. Now, when they plus, it's the same.
Yeah, it's different wording. You can, if you want to look up the rulings on that to get more specific, because we're not exactly rules experts, you can look it up, but that is how it works.
Yes.
And then last but not least for this category, Mila, Crafty Companion. I thought this was super cute. When your Planeswalkers, when one or more of your Planeswalkers gets attacked, you put a loyalty counter on all your Planeswalkers, which is awesome. And whenever stuff becomes a target, Mila says, draw a card. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't really worry too much about my Planeswalkers being the target of spells or abilities. I don't think Hero's Downfall is remotely playable. a lot of these effects that hit Planeswalkers, I'm really not playing, maybe with an Anguish Unmaking or a Beast Within or a Chaos Warp maybe.
Yeah.
And then you're going to draw a card, and that's nice. Most of the time, I think they're going to get attacked to death.
Most of the time, but there is.
But in that case, you get to say, hey, if you attack this one, I'm going to be able to ultimate this one. Do you really want to attack anything now?
But if you can set up one of these board states where you just have, a Planeswalker or two, Mila, and you Urza's Ruinous Blast on a turn, all of a sudden, you're just so far ahead that the spot removal becomes necessary for these Planeswalkers, and now it's just getting you draw. That's awesome.
Ironically, the Luca side sucks, and we're probably never going to play it.
But it is a bonus Planeswalker if you want to play it. I'm sure there are times you will want to play this.
It might be like a 10% of the time you have a Luca, maybe he ultimates. Now you have a Worst from Surge, which isn't that good, but it would have been better than the Mila side.
Yeah, exactly.
Next is the Misk, the miscellaneous cards that we cut/added to the deck. Kind of not sure why most of these are in here, but Oubliette, Maelstrom Nexus, and Primordial Hydra, I just thought were way out of left field. Not really what I'm looking to do. They just muddy the waters, kind of like Growth Spiral, where how many non-Planeswalker cards are we going to put in our Planeswalker deck? How many cards that don't synergize at all do we have room for? The answer is not many.
Yeah, exactly. Oubliette is just not a great removal spell in Commander. It's probably fine in like a mono black deck some of the time, but overall, I think if you're in even any two colors that involve black, you're just not going to need Oubliette.
Yeah, also Shalai, Voice of Plenty gives our Planeswalkers hexproof. Like I said, though, kind of on theme with I'm not really planning on them getting targeted all that often, enough to play this 4-mana thing that is going to get swept up by our board wipes and not protect our Planeswalkers the right way most of the time.
Yeah. Staff of Domination. This was part of some combos with like Lithoform Engine and some stuff. I'm sure there was something there, but we're going to win with Ultimates. We have ways to win the game. We don't need to rely on Staff of Domination. It's just not good enough for this deck.
We got Vampiric Tutor and Demonic Tutor and Vorplex and Delving Season. We'll be just fine with closing, I think. And then also Lightning Greaves. Nope. We have no creatures.
The creature count is super low, and all of our creatures aren't even worth protecting. So Lightning Greaves can absolutely get out. Scroll Rack. This is a really good Magic card, but as we work in synergies, we're just going to be, probably not needing it.
It's good with fetches. I just, play it if you really want to, but I'm just not going to include this in my hyper-focused Planeswalker deck.
Yeah, and then the ads for this miscellaneous category. This is mostly interaction, but we didn't have enough cuts for interaction for it to be its own category.
Yeah.
So we added Fierce Guardianship. We needed one more counter spell, so we threw in a Fierce Guardianship. This could be a force spell if the blue count was high enough, but it's not in this deck. Blasphemous Act and Vanquish the Horde. This is a 1 and a 2-mana board wipe. This deck I think we brought up to 4 or 5 board wipes.
Right.
After this. You could easily reach up to as high as this is the highest you can go. It's 10. I'm talking about the super high end.
Okay.
But like board wipes are so important to Planeswalker decks. You need to be able to get your Planeswalkers out and wipe the board around the same time. That's why the Blasphemous Acts and the Vanquish Swords are so important.
Because they're 2 mana. They're 1 mana.
Exactly.
They're going to be the precursor to a big turn of 3 or 4 spells.
But honestly, you can go more. It depends on how you're building the deck or how you feel it should go. You can go more board wipes. They are incredibly important, but there's tutors in this deck. We'll have the turns where we can just tutor for this when we need it.
Yeah, we're going to be able to have our Rifts and our Deluges in these cards whenever we need them.
And the last category here is lands. The land base was amazing. We just got to get Reliquary Tower out of here. We're not going to be over 7 cards in hand almost ever, and we're just not interested. In Mountain, we just cut because this deck didn't have Exotic Orchard and City of Brass. Both cards are just going to perform better for this deck.
Well, they're perfect for mana fixing. They're both 5-color fixers. And the Mountain there was 2 mountains in the deck. I'm not really sure why, so I just went down to 1 mountain. So they have 1 of each basic. I really don't like Reliquary Tower. I think most decks in general just don't need it. You can win the game with 7 cards. It is not hard at all to win the game with your best 7 when you go to discard. I just don't see the need outside of these niche things for 25 cards in my hand.
It's funny. This mana base is so focused and good that it doesn't want to play tap lands like Triomes because every land comes in untapped. This deck, it's so weird to me. When I build decks, I don't build them at the level or the focusedness of all untapped lands. I've never gotten to that point in deck building. I don't build that powerful of decks or mana bases, I guess. This deck, if I was building it, it would have Triomes in it just because I naturally would put Triomes in it, but it's probably wrong overall for this list, but I would put Triomes in it because I'm so used to it.
If you really wanted Triomes, if you find that you maybe are missing colors a little bit, you could cut 2 of the basics, like cut Mountain and Plains, and you could throw in, I think, maybe I would only go as far as Ketria and into the Triomes. I don't think any of the other ones.
Yeah, those are the best ones because your 3 Visitous Nature's Lords and Skyshroud Claims can all grab them, plus almost any fetch land can get them, except for 1. The only one of them, they can only not be fetched by one fetch land in existence.
Out of the 10, yeah.
How weird is that to think of? Any triome, 9 of the fetch lands can get them. That is strange. I never even thought about that.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So to round things out with the numbers here, we got the budget, nothing over $500. I promise you we didn't break it. The overall money spent was only $253, which for Jake's budget, I think we rocked.
I mean,
I think we got there.
No card. The budget is no card over $500. Our total spent on 25 total changes is $253. I think we nailed it.
Half of the maximum. The original average mana value was 3.34, and we lowered it. Originally, when we did this deck, it was 3.42, and I'm like, no, that's wrong. Switch Vanquish the Horde and Blasphemous Act to their actual mana cost, which is 1 and 2, and now it's 3.20. So we lowered the average curve.
Yeah. It's so annoying when you do that.
The MDFCs and the board waves like that, you get okay, no, move it.
Yeah, they're so. It's so annoying when you're doing that. I am glad that
they have the feature though. That's amazing.
I am glad that Moxfield has the feature that allows us to fix that. That is great. But regardless of anything, thank you very much for just making this deck, and that is our video. Special shout outs to all of our patrons. Love you all as much as we can without making you comfortable. Seriously, guys, thank you guys for all the support you've given us and the love as we head toward that 50K mark, which you can help support by sending us whatever you want, if you want, using the P.O. box in the description.
Yes, we are trudging through, well, more like striding through. We're not trudging through anything. We're striding through our Kickstarter tune-ups. There's going to be about 6 more of these, I think, so buckle in for those people who like tune-ups. But for now, go to the TCG Player link in the description. Buy the cards you're going to buy anyway. We're buying cards like every week because we're crazy EDH deck builders. And then when you buy the cards, because you started with our link, for no extra money, we get supported.
Yeah, very much appreciated. Any form of support that you give us, whether it be from just watching our videos to supporting us on Patreon, it is all very much appreciated. We have a Discord. You can head in there. It's in the Nitpicking Nerds Discord. Talk about whatever you want, even magic, not magic, but it's a bunch of people who all like the Nitpicking Nerds and like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, something that is not even a trend, but has been happening that I maybe will ask people about, and then I'll do a poll on the community tab. But I was wondering, would people be interested in seeing a Nitpicking Nerds revenue reveal type video where we're just like, hey, behind the scenes, here's what we make, here's what the stats of our channel are? I have no idea, but it's something we could consider down the road.
Yeah, let us know. So one tidbit about our life. I sent out a tweet yesterday. It got 405 likes, which is crazy because we're not that popular on Twitter. We
haven't put much work into Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter is not our passion. YouTube is our passion. But it said, don't mock other players for playing by the rules. Don't call them rules lawyers for using the rules to do a completely legal play with a card. Be a positive force in the MTG community, not a negative one. And I'll just say, if you know, you know. Peace out, Tribe Scout.